So hey everyone, I don't know how much this is going to land on everybody's hearts and minds today. So some are going to resonate with this and some are going to think, that's a bit much for me. But either way, it needs to be shared. So I just want people to understand that intellectually, our conscious mind can trick us. If we say that we know something, the way you know it is if you can articulate it to someone else and if you can embody it. If you understand it where you're like, I can see it everywhere, I know it, I understand it. It's one thing for you to say, yeah, I know how to make $1 million a month, but can you do it? If you can't express what your conscious mind says you know, then I'm going to tell you guys, you don't know it. And that's the thing, that's the biggest lie our educational system gave us, was they told us that if you can memorize something and get an A on a test or an exam, you know something. And that is absolutely not true at all. So I'm going to give you great examples here just so you guys can understand where I'm coming from with the context. When you look at society, when you look at the collective of humans, what are we expressing? What are we collectively creating and manifesting as our holograms? What is the collective experience of most human beings on this planet? Well, it's fear, it's scarcity, it's arguing and fighting and warring with another human being because of the color of their skin or how much money they earn or where they live, the car they drive. It's definitely about lack. It's about mediocrity, working very, very hard. Hopefully that one day, something great's going to come out of the sky and land on our lap and give us freedom. So it's not like it's a one thing or a two-man thing. It's a whole humanity thing. So I just finished sharing what we express and what we see as our reality is exactly what we know. So this is what we know. So it would be safe to say that we're very in the know. We can articulate it very easily, how to be poor, how to live in stress, how to be mediocre, how to suffer, how to fight with other human beings and be jealous and insecure, how to create disease in our bodies. We've got all of this down. We know it. Why? Because we've embodied it. It's part of the perception hijacking. It's called programming. It's psyop. It's psychological warfare. You call it whatever you want. It's brainwashing. So when you have this, and I'm going to go into how, I think I shared it yesterday in my reels, but I'm going to go into it again a bit deeper today. This is how you get a whole one mind, a hive mind, to perceive and project out into the hologram, just like a movie projector, one narrative. And we all know it. It's embodied in the cells of our body. It's in our cellular memory. So this is where I'm trying to say, when you say I know something, we don't know it until we start to see it express and manifest itself in our reality. Now, let's flip it. How many of us know abundance? How many of us know health, wealth, unity, getting along with everyone, helping other human beings, not coming from fear, lack, or worry, but coming from abundance and no fear, right? Ready to go into the unknown. How many of us are expressing that? Right now, more and more are, because of the awakening, because the awakening allows you to remember, whether you understand it intellectually or not. It's bypassing the intellect and it's coming through your spiritual side of yourself. It's coming through your heart center. It's coming through in vibration, in a higher vibration. That's allowing you to feel confident, to feel a knowingness, and then you express it. That's how you know something. It's not through repetition of books that are lies. It's through understanding and remembering what's in your cellular memory. And that's what's happening through this awakening, is the cells in our DNA are starting to activate. Now, I know a lot of you have heard me say many, many times that the highest currency on our planet is our consciousness and our DNA. But do you understand why I'm sharing this? Do you know it in your body? So you have to understand that consciousness is energy and energy is consciousness. And it will take directive through your DNA, through your mitochondria, through your electromagnetic signature. So whatever we emit from our body, because we do emit signatures, EMF signatures, this is a code, it's a frequency that goes out into our hologram, into the universe, and responds back to it, matches everything that matches your code, and brings it back to you as an experience. If this isn't something you understand, maybe you might want to look into it more, but this is how it works. This is physics. You can't avoid it while you're in this hologram. You are doing this every single moment of every single day. So you can look at it like a car. Consciousness is the car, you're the driver. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're feeling and thinking, what your perception is, basically what your energetic signature is going to move consciousness, right, into manifestation of what you are going to experience in the hologram. Or as a collective human being, it's going to collectively create a one world collective hive mind experience for all human beings. So are you understanding how important consciousness is? And so when it's been hijacked, which it has, where I just gave you the example, why are 99% of human beings all knowing how to be poor, how to live in a mediocre way, how to come from lack and fear and warring, and live from lack, not abundance? Why are they all coming from insecurity and competition? It's because of their consciousness is being directed by who they're being. So if you want to create a hologram that is a reality that you want, if you want to create heaven on earth or hell on earth, this is what you're given. You're allowed to do either one. You don't need to go up in the sky. You don't need to wait till one day. Heaven is here now. Hell is here now. It's a choice. It's a vibrational frequency choice. So when you think about that in terms of co-creation, all of us are made in the image and likeness of our Creator. All of us are faces of God, if you will. So that means we co-create with our Creator. We manifest. That's why we're here, to evolve and grow as spiritual beings. So one big thing, if you ever stunt the growth of a spiritual being and it's evolving, it's going to harm the spirit. It's going to harm the spirit, which, what else does it harm? The body. Because the body is an extension and a manifestation of spirit. Now I'm going to step into this. These races you've heard me talk about, these, you call them fallen angels, you can call them demons. People have their own thoughts and processes on what they want to call these races. Either way, they are no longer connected to source, God. They do not have that life force energy that moves to and through us. Now, some people will say, well, they are created by God, so they are, God-like beings. Well, they are conscious. They are consciousness, they are energy, and they are in the mind of God. So they can't escape it. But the fact is they chose to fall. They chose to disconnect their life force energy. Whether you understand this or not, feel into whatever feels right for you. But this is where I talk about artificial intelligence. This is where I talk about the Metatronic reversal, Metatronics. This is why everything they do is backwards and in reverse. And it's why they copy us, because they cannot create. Now, they chose to do this billions of years ago. This is another video altogether to share the history of that. But the point to say is they wanted to be co-creator gods. And they realized once they chose to go off and leave the connection to source, that they are no longer created. They're in a black hole system. They are no longer infinite. They're finite. This is why they have to use our low frequency energy. This is why they do their rituals. This is why, they use adrenochrome. They need our energy, because at the end of the day, everything's energy. So this is how low energy, low frequency keeps these, if you want to call them races or beings, alive and functioning and in control. We're giving them the food, the loosh, the black goo, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, we're giving it to them. This is why they've been able to stay around as long as they have. So basically, you could look at it from this perspective that they dislike us in a very big way. They despise us. Anti-Christ. Anti-Christ consciousness. We are Christ consciousness. We are connected to God. We are divine beings, and they hate every single thing about that. We have the 12 tribes DNA in our body. We have different races in the cosmos in our body in terms of our DNA. So this is why we are infinite intelligence and envied. They hate us. So because of this, they are wanting and needing to mimic our natural infinite intelligence, our soft technology, not AI, soft technology, infinite intelligence, which is what moves to and through us at all times. They have spent millions of years trying to create AI technology to be able to mimic our own natural technology. This is maybe help you answer, because a lot of people say, how can they do this to us? Why are they doing this? Well, first of all, when you're no longer connected to Christ consciousness, when your strands of DNA are not all plugged in and you're operating in reverse, they are no longer connected to God. They don't have empathy. They don't have sympathy. They don't think the way we do. They don't think in love. They think in hate. So it's completely reversed. So they're able to just stomp on us like we would ants, let's say. They're able to do what they do effortless. They're able to poison. They're able to lie. They're able to manipulate, and it's effortless for them. They do not care. When I gave you the perception and understanding of them disliking our race, this is why depopulation has always been a part of our history. And this is why they've stepped it up for what's coming up now. So this is where that should answer your question. They don't care, and it's easy for them to pull off what they're doing. So as all of you know, that they have, taken many, many texts away from us, like 26 plus books from the original Bible. They hide things, they edit things. I mean, it would be wonderful to finally access what's under the Vatican, right? But these are all what the mystery schools and the so-called cults teach, the black magic. Well, there is what you might want to call magic, but really what it is understanding the laws of the universe, understanding alchemy, spiritual science. We're all meant to know this, but it's not in anything that we learn, because we have been limited in what we've learned. We don't have knowledge. We have the basics to just get by, as you can tell, because look at the collective consciousness. So this will explain why they've been able to get away with what they've been able to get away with, because they're utilizing information that if we understood this and know thyself, there would be no way they would have been able to do what they've done for all the hundreds of years that they've been doing it. So with them armed with the knowledge about consciousness, co-creation with the creator, once they understand that they are no longer able to tap into that life force energy, please understand what this means. It means they no longer can manifest. Okay? They no longer can originate ideas. They can't create. They're not co-creators anymore. So they have to mimic, they have to copy. And they have to find something that's artificial, something that's not infinite intelligence. It's artificial intelligence. And they're trying to copy it as close as they can to the one God gave us, the original Christ consciousness, infinite intelligence, which, as all of you know, can never ever be matched. But they're convinced they can do it. So I want you to understand that back context, so it will explain why they wanted to hijack our consciousness through brainwashing and psyops. So without going back into my older reels, I have shared about the blank slate technology, how back in Atlantis they were able to get humans to get amnesia. We have 12 strands minimum of DNA that should be operating, and we have 2 to 3 strands. Now it's starting to open up and get to 4, 5, 6, and so forth. But they shut them down through, the gravity and the morphogenic field around the planet. It's all frequency at the end of the day. And when you alter a certain frequency with a certain frequency, it can change and help us either move in one direction or go back in another. So this is what they did. So when you don't remember anything, all human beings are basically like kids. And then you give them books that you have written and you want them to play it out for you. It's like an actor. It is exactly like an actor with a director that has a movie in mind of what the movie is going to be like. And they give the script to the actor and say, hey, you be this so that you can manifest my movie for me. So we can't remember. They cannot create. They're using us. We are the actors for them in their script and their movie. So the script is, guys, mainstream. We talked about it in my last reel. So everything that comes down the pipe that gives us any type of information that comes through our 5 senses, it doesn't matter what it is. Mainstream anything is the script. I'm hoping you guys get this. So the script, as I shared with you at the very beginning of these reels, is all done in lack and fear, scarcity, mediocrity, not abundance, warring and fighting, separation and dividing every human against a human. It's all of that because this is what we know. And I shared why we know it, because we express it in our hologram. We're manifesting it. We're co-creating with our God. And we're manifesting using our consciousness to create it. Now, they have obviously an agenda. We all know it. And a lot of you may not know why it's 2030. That's a completely different set of videos. But let's just know that they have an agenda, and it needs to be played out between now and 2030. This has been strategically in position like a chess game since the 1930s. So you have to understand none of this is like shocking. This is all moving pieces in a game to finally get to checkmate. When you all have heard of the looking glass, you may not know all of it, but at the end of the day, what it just means is they were using technology to try to see timelines. And all of the timelines but one was one that was what they wanted. They were happy with their success. But there's one timeline. Sounds like that Marvel movie. There's one timeline. And if we are able to create that, they don't win. So this is why this censorship is so huge. So with them knowing a certain time period they had to get the collective consciousness at a very low level, to a level where most human beings will not say anything, will conform and will do anything they tell them to do. We saw that outplay in the last 2 years, how well that's worked. So the Great Awakening is that one timeline. And this has something to do with what's going on right now with the sun. It has everything to do with the cosmos and the radiation that's coming through, the higher plasma frequencies, all of this. It's called an ascension cycle, a stellar activation cycle. But see, this is in our books. These are in the books that all of us are supposed to know about. But they are hidden from us. So when this time comes around, they can make up any story once again. Oh, this is climate change. Oh my God, the sun's going to explode. Earth is in trouble. We need to get off Earth, hide underground. Do you see? It's all fear-based. It's a play. It's a movie. Okay, if you've ever seen the movie Wag the Dog with Dustin Hoffman, you got to see it. What I'm sharing now is exactly what he did in that movie. So after the videos I shared the other day about how they were able to control humanity, how they were able and had all intentions from the 1930s and 40s to manipulate our perceptions, to, psychological warfare, to be able to control the minds of all of us to output only one way of thinking, one way of being, one way of awareness. So what we know. Right? And they've really been quite successful. The awakening is going to risk everything they've done, because if enough of us can get information out, even just for someone else to look in a different direction and actually think and go and see and look for different information, it's going to start opening up. Their DNA is going to start to plug in and their consciousness is going to raise. This is why they've always been after our consciousness and our DNA, the highest currency on the planet, because they wanted you and I to co-create with our creator and manifest their timeline. That's why they hijacked our perceptions. So they can't create. They used us. They use a collective of humanity to use our consciousness to co-create with our creator their timeline. I've repeated that 3 times. I'm hoping you get it. How are we co-creating with our God, which is just what we're here to do? The life force energy that moves to and through us is what manifests. We are here to evolve and grow. So we're manifesting every day. We aren't taught this. They know this. So they're like, okay, let's get them to manifest our timeline, our goal. And that's what consciousness has happened. We are doing exactly what they want us to do. And this is why it's been such a pivotal point to all throughout history to remove anybody who stood outside of their narrative that could risk the truth coming out, that we're being controlled, that we could use our own consciousness and create whatever we want, not what they want. We're actually able to do that as infinite beings. They don't want you to possibly know. So now I'm sure all of you can see why all through history, anyone that spoke outside of their narrative, anyone who downloaded information, which we all have access to when our DNA is plugged in, to higher consciousness, to higher information of how to evolve as spiritual beings. We're always getting information given to us. Look at Tesla. Anyone who tried to share any of this information, we just look through what little history they gave us. They were burned at the stake. They were put in insane asylums. They were locked in their homes like Galileo, or they were taken off the planet. They were killed. So this is what they're doing. They cannot afford all of us to know what they've been doing to us all this time. And the Great Awakening is going to impede on that plan. This is why all of us are noticing the censorship now is probably the worst it's ever been in our history. And it's going to continue to try to get even worse, to shut us up. But I'm sorry, you can't shut down infinite intelligence, but you can shut down artificial. So you all know that I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form, but I do want to share this because it's common. People have heard this. The kingdom of heaven is within, right? Ask and ye shall receive. Now, these parables were in the Bible, but they have edited the Bible, even by taking out a sentence, can totally change your perception of what it means. So if we knew this, if we understood it, if we embodied it, then we would be creating and manifesting it in our reality. So if the kingdom of heaven is within us, what does that mean? That means that our cellular DNA carries every single life that we've ever lived. It carries all information since the birth of Earth. You have to understand that's why they tried to tamper with it and unplug it, so we could not remember. And consciousness creates. So if the kingdom of heaven is within is who are you being? What is your electromagnetic signature? Because it's your electromagnetic signature that creates heaven or creates hell. So they've tricked us into believing that everything is out there and not inside. The kingdom of heaven is within. Go within. We've heard so many different ways of saying this through many texts. Go within. But what have they told us to do? Go without. Seek out there. Beg out there. Wait out there. It was a complete trickery. It's not true. That's why I said everything they do is in reverse. We need to do the opposite. We need to remember who we are. So we can now, this is my whole point of these reels today, take back your power, which is always moving to and through you, and use your consciousness. Direct it now off what they've been giving you for millennia. You need to take responsibility. You need to master your own senses and direct your consciousness to something abundant, the opposite of everything they keep us looking at. And this is how you create a completely different timeline. So now I'm hoping you get the big picture as to why I say that DNA and our consciousness are the highest currency on the planet. It's completely obvious now, I hope. Within terms of the DNA, cellular memory, it plugs into multiple dimensions, which gives you more access to wisdom, memories, and knowledge. That's what they don't want you to know, which is why it's been unplugged for so long. You've heard people say that we use like 3% of our brain. Well, let's talk about DNA. You're using less than 2% of your DNA. The rest is junk. And who creates junk as an infinite intelligence creator? It's absolute BS. So this is why with the solar activation, with those higher frequencies coming to and through us, it's always a frequency game. Once you plug in frequency that's higher than where we've been programmed, our DNA is going to start to plug in. That's how they unplugged us, by keeping us in a very, very low frequency. So this is why a lot of us are waking up and remembering. And this is why they're trying to block the sun, to keep these strong rays from coming in. Now, I wasn't even going to go into this because this is a story that I could talk about for 3 hours, but I want people to understand their perception of us is they hate us. They dislike the fact that we are connected to God. This is why all along, using religion and dogmas and their narrative, they've tried to separate the idea of spirit. They've tried to say, and you can go onto the WEF forum and they'll constantly talk about how, free will and spirit is no longer going to be here. I'm paraphrasing, but this is what they've been trying to do. They want you to believe you're on your own. They want you to think you're all left behind. There is no God. There is no, they're your gods. You don't have any connection to anything. There is no soul. I mean, I've seen it all with that, some of the people out of that WEF. But there's a reason why they do that, because they want to create an idea in your head that you need them, right? You're inferior, they're gods, and they're going to give you something. Well, here's the thing, you've already got it. So let's just look at AI. If you can be objective, look at AI. Everything that they're talking about AI, saying how it's going to do this for you. Look at people come into my messenger and they're absolutely angry because they think Elon Musk is the best, and they think that AI is great because the story they're selling the human beings on is that it's going to, stop you from being paralyzed. It's going to give you your eyesight back. Well, when you're a cyborg, they could probably do whatever they want because you'll be part computer and part human. So if that's something you're fine with, then yeah, sure, their story is possibly accurate. But the fact is you'll lose all autonomy. You will no longer have your own body. You will not have your own mind or your own thinking. So you may be able to walk, but you're going to be walking and doing what they want you to do. So this is what people have to understand. The lies that they're selling us on, the ones that are sleeping, is on AI technology, but they're copying our own technology that we currently have. It's so nefarious because we don't remember who we are. They're selling us on eternal life. They're saying that you can live longer lives, healthier lives. You can be more healthier. You'll be able to be telepathy. You'll be able to communicate your mind through microchips and being hooked up to their 5G net, to multiple things, including computers and all this, telepathy. So they're saying to all of us, we're going to give you this as gods with this AI technology. But yet you have to understand that our own technology, we're already telepathic. We're already able to heal ourselves. We're already eternal. Everything, you have to understand that they're trying to sell us on, that this AI is going to offer, we already are it. They're copying our intelligence. The only thing is we don't remember, so we don't believe it. We haven't embodied that yet. Do you see how the Great Awakening hinders everything? Because a lot of you that are following me already know this. So we know we wouldn't put a chip in our head so that we could be telepathic or that we could have access to like these powers. We already are that. So when these books are finally made available to us, the ones that are hidden under the Vatican and in other areas in the world, when you start to read for yourself this knowledge that has been withheld from us for thousands of years, it shares this information in there, that this is who we are. And what we have to understand, that when this solar activation takes place, when we do have our DNA activated at a very higher place than it's been since before Atlantis, when it starts to plug in, we change as human beings. We go back to our natural, what we should be. When you unplug DNA, you are not the evolved being that you're supposed to be. But when you plug it back in, you're a completely different being, but you're still divine. So I hope all of this helps clarify that each and every one of you, whether you understand it yet or not, you will. You are infinite being. You co-create right now. Right now, you're still connected to God. So that life force energy is moving to and through you, which means it's a choice. It's going to be difficult for some because they're in a habitual behavior of acting and being someone that they're not. You're being the actor that read the script for so long and you were playing out a movie as an actor. Now it's time for you to quit. It's time for you to create your own movie, to create from within. The kingdom of heaven is within, and choose what you want to move and direct your consciousness to create. No longer look at what they want as a timeline and start to create your own timeline. This is true. We've created it for them for this long, so clearly this is what physics is all about. This is what the law of attraction is all about. So why not start to create what you want now and unplug?